I'm Katie Barlow. Tonight in the courts, President Trump pleads not guilty in the Georgia case, and a judge sets a date for his federal criminal trial right here in D.C. Also, why a gun safety group says it is poring over history to set the record straight on gun control. And we're hearing from the family of a local woman murdered 2 years ago. See how police cracked her case. It all starts right now. We start tonight with a couple of updates in the cases against former President Donald Trump. Thursday, Trump pleaded not guilty in the Georgia criminal case where he and 18 others face charges for racketeering and trying to overturn his 2020 election loss in the Peach State. Trump and others face a 41-count indictment that outlines an alleged scheme to flip the election results in favor of Trump. Since the indictment, there have been calls to remove Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, some people even going so far as asking Georgia's Republican Governor Brian Kemp to call a special session to oust or punish her. That's something Kemp says is a hard no.
We have a law in the state of Georgia that clearly outlines the legal steps that can be taken if constituents believe their local prosecutors are violating their oath by engaging in unethical or illegal behavior. Up to this point, I have not seen any evidence that D.A. Willis's actions or lack thereof warrant action by the Prosecuting Attorney Oversight Commission.
Kemp said as long as he's governor, he'll follow the law and the Constitution, regardless of who it helps and who it harms politically. He said later on in that press conference over the last few years, a few folks may have forgotten that, but says that he hasn't. Also this week, we have a date for Trump's federal election interference trial right here in D.C. Judge Tanya Chutkan set trial for March 4th. And if you're looking at a calendar, which I don't know why you would be on a Sunday night, so we'll tell you, that's just one day before Super Tuesday. Prosecutors wanted to go to trial in January. The Trump team wanted to push the trial all the way to spring of 2026. Chutkan told both sides those proposals were unacceptable. One legal expert we spoke to said that March 4th start time is not enough.
This case will go down in history for many, many reasons. If it goes down in history because they didn't give one of the two main candidates a proper chance to both prepare for the trial and to campaign for office, it will be ignominious. It's really important that he have the time with his team to prepare for this trial.
Now, Chutkan said Trump's political schedule during a campaign year was not a factor in her consideration, comparing him at one point to a professional athlete facing a criminal trial, saying it'd be inappropriate to work around the athlete's schedule. And meanwhile, in an Atlanta federal courtroom this week, former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows took the stand and tried to get his state criminal charges moved to federal court. Now, we've talked about this before, but Meadows, some of his co-defendants, they want to be in federal court because they think they might have a home team advantage there with a better jury pool, perhaps, and maybe more familiarity with the rules of the game. Now, prosecutors charged Meadows and other co-defendants with racketeering for conspiring to overturn the election results in Georgia. Meadows' legal team argues that since he was acting as a federal official at the time, he should be tried in a federal court. And one of the former leaders of the Proud Boys, Joseph Biggs, was sentenced in federal court in Washington this week. Prosecutors were asking for 33 years, but Judge Timothy Kelly sentenced Biggs to 17 years behind bars for conspiring with a group of pro-Trump followers to overthrow the United States government. It's the second longest sentence in over 1,000 criminal cases that prosecutors have brought against January 6 defendants. Now, Biggs, also one of the few facing a tougher sentence for domestic terrorism. He received what's called a domestic terrorism enhancement. Now, what exactly is that? Well, first, you need to know there's actually no federal charge for domestic terrorism. So prosecutors can't go after January 6 defendants or say, for example, the person who murdered 11 people in a Pittsburgh synagogue shouting, "All Jews must die." Prosecutors can't charge those people who commit those types of crimes with domestic terrorism, but they can ask for harsher sentencing with a terrorism enhancement for domestic terrorism. It can tack on over a decade behind bars, and there's long been a debate about whether there should be a domestic terrorism charge and how you would even define, quote, domestic terrorism. But Prosecutors have applied it only in a handful of January 6 cases, now including Biggs. And in Supreme Court news this week, while it's been a quiet summer, we're still talking about Justice Clarence Thomas. Over 100 former clerks to the justice wrote a letter defending their former boss, saying, quote, his integrity is unimpeachable. The open letter launched just 2 days before Thomas's updated financial disclosures were released to the public, including details of the trips he took on billionaire GOP megadonor Harlan Crow's dime.
This is the first time that Clarence Thomas himself, after many, many years of travel with Harlan Crow, is actually disclosing it on the report. And as you say, there were 2 private jet trips to events in Dallas, Texas, and then another one to a place where he's vacationed with Harlan Crow many, many years up in the Adirondacks, a very expensive estate where Clarence Thomas has summered.
As our regular viewers know, these connections to Justice Thomas were first reported by ProPublica, reporting that prompted Justice Thomas to review his previous financial disclosures. And in local news this week, a Germantown dentist has been found guilty of murdering his girlfriend and his former employee, Sarah Harris. Harris died from an overdose back in January 2022, and messages used as evidence in trial show Dr. James Ryan offering to give her IV drips of drugs, and he had access to those drugs from his dental practice. The jury deliberated for less than 3 hours. After a 2-week trial, this week Harris's family spoke about the verdict.
She will forever be missed by all of us. We're satisfied that justice was served with the conviction of James Ryan on August 25th of 2023. However, there were really no winners in this case. We all lost something. Our family lost our beloved Sarah. James Ryan has lost his freedom, and his family will suffer for that.
A sentencing hearing will be set at a later date. Ryan could face up to 40 years in prison just on the second-degree murder charge alone. And the Frederick County Sheriff says he's getting back to work. That's despite having been on a self-imposed leave of absence since being federally indicted on gun charges back in April, just 4 months after he was charged alongside a local gun shop owner for allegedly taking part in a scheme to illegally acquire machine guns. Sheriff Jenkins says despite being forced to surrender his service weapon, he's been working in the sheriff's office pretty much every day since his indictment. He spoke this week with our Josh Rosenthal.
Are you able to fulfill your duties as sheriff when you yourself have been charged with a crime, sir?
Absolutely. I'm innocent until proven guilty, right? Correct? That's still the American way?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yes, I'm still the sheriff. I'm still fulfilling my obligations and carrying out the duties.
But some elected officials are far from pleased. Frederick County Executive Jessica Fitzwater telling Fox 5 in a statement, Sheriff Jenkins' decision to take a leave of absence demonstrated an understanding of the seriousness of the charges against him. I'm disappointed that he has now gone back on his word. And now to some stories ripped from the headlines this week. The U.S. government is moving to block a company from sending a mission to the wreckage of the Titanic next year, saying the mission could disturb the memorial site. RMS Titanic plans to take photos of the wreck next May. The company argues that the U.S. has no jurisdiction over international waters. But as you've learned on our show, that's not necessarily true. A court in Virginia, right in our backyard, oversees all things Titanic wreckage. That's where the government is taking its stand in this case. The dispute comes 2 months after that deadly submersible trip operated by OceanGate Expeditions. And Burger King is defending itself against accusations that it makes Whoppers appear bigger than they actually are. Reuters reports that a judge in Miami has rejected Burger King's bid to get a lawsuit against the company tossed. Customers claim Burger King makes the Whopper appear 35% larger than it actually is. The judge rejected Burger King's claim it does not have to sell a burger that appeared exactly as it does in the picture.